1948. Until then,
Michelle,
we were Israel's friend. We stood with Israel's friend. But in that December, it was a very different time. And the United States sat on her hands when this outrageous resolution was put forward at the UN. And to our shame and to our sorrow, it stood. It said, Israel, you have no right to Jerusalem. Israel, you are an occupier. Israel, you can't build in your own capital. You are illegitimate. That was the message from the United States. The Jubilee began. After the Jubilee, a new administration came in, and the Vice President of the United States of America paid a visit to this building, to the Knesset. And while he was here, he had stated to the Knesset, from one government leader to another government leader, that you, the Jewish people, have a right to this land. You have a right. You are not an occupier. And we will bring our United States Embassy, he said at that time, in 2019. We were told before by President Trump it would come without a date, and the date was moved up to 2019. Shortly after that, December 6th of last year, President Donald Trump gave the greatest gift that he could give. It was literally a shot heard around the world when he said, we are going to move the United States Embassy to Jerusalem, Israel's rightful capital, on the exact day of Jerusalem, of Israel's 70th birthday. That is our gift. What the president did by that remark is to tell the world, we in the United States, on the 70th birthday, on the lifespan of a man, so to speak, of Israel, we are saying that this is a legitimate country and a legitimate people and a legitimate capital, and we will stand behind that legitimacy. Do you know how important legitimacy is? You see, that has been the number one propaganda tool used against Israel. You have no right. You see, when you remove that tool of legitimacy versus illegitimacy, it is game over for the enemies of Israel. Game over. Because legitimacy is everything. The Holy Scripture of God has stated unequivocally, the Jewish people are a unique people, tied to a unique land, for a unique purpose, to be a blessing to all the nations of the earth. That is being fulfilled before our eyes. At the same time, during this Jubilee, we saw, as we heard in previous remarks, the greatest threat to Israel's national security is the greatest terror state in the world, which is Iran. At the time that the United States was negotiating the Iran agreement, the Ayatollah of Iran wrote a book. The book was this: we will annihilate Israel within 25 years. That should give you a clue about who you're dealing with. That's the title of his book.
Amen.
But in that midst of this last year, when we saw that the United States gave legitimacy to the world's largest terror state and illegitimacy to the Jewish state, during the Jubilee year, we saw a complete about-face. We saw the United States give legitimacy to Israel and her right to Jerusalem as the capital, and illegitimacy to Iran, the greatest enemy of Israel, by ripping up the Iran agreement. This is in the natural, and this is in the political. But the natural and the political have profound implications on the spiritual and on the biblical.
Mm-hmm.
And for that reason, we should stand in awe and reverence before a holy God for what he has done, and that he privileged us to be witnesses of his hand in our time to bless the nations. Thank you.
Amen, Michelle. And thank you once again for your leadership. Michelle has been pushing these things for decades when no one was talking about it. And today, as you can see, it's now the law of the land. So we just thank you for all the work that you've done, and what an incredible time to be with you when it's all coming to fruition. Amen. We have an incredible program for you for the Jerusalem Prayer Breakfast in the next 2 days. It's really, I hope you appreciate the incredible access and the ability to see some of the people you're going to see and meet some of the people you're going to meet and just be with the people around the room. And none of that would have been possible without the work over the last year of the coordinator of the Jerusalem Prayer Breakfast, Albert Wexler. Albert, please stand just to please thank Albert for this. What's amazing is that Albert really does this as a labor of love. It's not just him, it's his family, it's his friends who get involved in this, who do this because they believe it's the right thing to do. And we're really honored to have one of Israel's national treasures with us today, Albert's daughter, Brigitte Wexler, who's just a phenomenal, phenomenal talent. Please welcome Brigitte.
This morning from the book of Psalms, Psalm 25.
Speaker has become a member of the Knesset Christian Allies Caucus when he became a member of Knesset in this recent Knesset. But well before that, he's been one of the leaders and pioneers of reaching out to Christian communities for many issues, from freedom of religion and access to the Temple Mount, to the importance of Jews and Christians working together. And as a member of the caucus, we've just been so excited to see how he's worked with Christian leadership around the world to embolden this new wave of support that we're seeing. He sits in the Likud party. Please welcome Rabbi, member of Knesset, Yehuda Glick.